Now you see, here my friends, this is top tier racism. Gold standard, 10 out of 10 no notes. Top tier. Trump officials seek to bring first white Afrikaner refugees to the US next week, as early as next week. Although the president has halted virtually all other refugee admissions shortly after he took office in January, his administration hastily put together a program. To allow in white South Africans who he claims have been the victims of racial persecution in their home country. So let's get this straight. All other refugees, especially the brown ones, all other refugees, they are criminals and terrible people who he doesn't want in the country. But he's gone to post-apartheid South Africa, to go and get white people from South Africa. Actually go and collect them. Go and get them because he says they've been racially persecuted. But of course, nobody else has been racially persecuted. Only white South Africans have been racially persecuted. You know what? It's so brazen and so racist that I'm actually weirdly quite impressed. None of this sloppy UK racism. This is top tier, go for the jugular, just make it absolutely clear that it's only white people who ever suffer from persecution or any problems in their lives. That's it. Just brazen. Unbelievable. You have to give it to them. They are just clear. Clear. Is white people are persecuted. Everybody else, with a tinge of brown, no. Not interested. Wow.
Greetings, everybody. I hope you're doing fantastic, and it's always a pleasure having you here. So, Trump administration seeks to bring first white Afrikaners to US as refugees from next week. He claims they have been racially discriminated in South Africa. But wait, what about black people who have faced injustice for years? This comes after South African President Cyril Ramaphosa allowed the government to seize land by the state without compensation. This has sparked a lot of debate in the US, and it's raising a lot of questions about race, privilege, and who gets help in the world. Before we proceed, let us listen to what Americans had to say, and then we come back with some commentary.
Is Trump a racist?
Well,
in your mind?
I think that Donald Trump has done things that have only exacerbated racial disparities, have created more problems there that are not in furtherance of equal treatment under the law, that do not promote equality.
It's not about race. Then why has the Trump administration chartered a plane specifically to go and resettle white South Africans in the United States as refugees, despite the fact that the Trump administration earlier this year suspended refugee admissions and yet are making an exception for white South Afrikaners? But it's not about race, right? It's not about race. Why are we making everything about race? It was never about race. So why are no exceptions being made for the black and brown refugees and only for the white refugees? And I say refugees very loosely because these people are not trying to escape white racism. They are escaping the repercussions as a result of years of racial oppression at their hands. Retaliation from oppression cannot be called racism. They're simply running from the repercussions of their own actions, the consequences of their actions, if you will. But if it's not about race, why are only the white South Africans being allowed to come to the United States under refugee status, despite refugee admissions being suspended by Trump himself? If it's not about race. I'll wait.
So Trump is to hold a welcome ceremony to the white South Africans who have fled racism in South Africa. So the mainly Afrikaans, white South Africans who have cried persecution because of the color of their skin were given a special privilege by Donald Trump, where he said that he doesn't want any more asylum seekers from anywhere around the world except the white South Africans. So he said that their arrival in America is going to be celebrated at the airport in Virginia, where his official is going to officiate the welcoming ceremony. What I really want an update on is how they get on once they get in America, because I am getting a big, large bowl of popcorn, because I want to know what happens when they get to America. Can somebody please document for us how life is gonna go once you're in America and how you're getting on in America? Please keep us posted now that you have found a place of refuge in the United States of America. Yeah, and all I can say is good for Africa.
Make this make sense. Trump wants to get rid of all the black and brown immigrants in this country, but yet he wants to import white refugees from South Africa. Make it make sense.
To all of the South African Afrikaans refugees that are coming to America soon, I just want to let you know, as someone whose wife is Afrikaans, who's been to South Africa multiple times, you're going to have a bad time. There's no white genocide happening in South Africa. You have crime that's happening as a result of racism-fueled generational economic inequality, the same thing that's happening in America. We're just a couple decades ahead of you on the unchecked capitalism timeline. But I have good news for you. You don't have to worry about the cheap exploited labor rising up against you anymore, because now that you're in America, you'll get to be the cheap exploited labor. If you were middle class or upper middle class in South Africa and you come to America, you're poor now. Like, really poor. You're not going to have maids and gardeners and personal servants that you can pay $15 a day for. Now you get to be the cheap labor. But by all means, please come to America and experience the American capitalism that Elon Musk's been raving about to you. You'll probably love it. You know, what do I know? There's probably very little chance that you'll end up going back to South Africa in a year or two after realizing how overpriced and fucked up America is. I wouldn't even...
While they're deporting anyone and everyone that they can find off the streets, even citizens, he's fast-tracking people from South Africa, but it's a white minority group from South Africa. So it does seem like it's just about the color of the skin, huh? Who would have thunk it?
They only want white people here. Because when we think about refugees who need immediate resettlement, expedited screenings, we usually think about people who are fleeing extreme violence, persecution, famine, war in places like South Sudan, Myanmar, the Congo, not white Afrikaners. See that chartered plane the Trump administration is sending? It's not going to collect refugees that have been sitting in resettlement camps for years, fully vetted, waiting to come to the United States to escape violence. No, it's going to South Africa to collect white people who claim they're being discriminated against. Why would they be getting discriminated against? Probably because they spent generations instituting legalized forms of racial segregation and discrimination called apartheid, aka Stephen Miller's wet dream. See, while the rest of the world after World War II saw that maybe racial discrimination not such a hot idea and favored more policies of integration and away from colonization, Afrikaners doubled down on that shit and instituted apartheid. Although it ended over 30 years ago, the social and economic legacies of apartheid continue today. South Africa is the most unequal country in the entire world, according to the World Bank, with white South Africans earning over 12 times what black South Africans do. But don't worry, we're going to make sure that the white Afrikaners who instituted generations of discrimination and segregation against black people get everything they need to get started here in the United States in their new life.
White South Africans are now given refugee status in the US, and as somebody who comes from a country that has been hosting white South Africans for the past decade now as they're seeking refuge, I just want to tell you, and you can ask Australians and Kiwis about this too, because white South Africans have been moving in massive numbers to Australia and New Zealand, so they know what I'm talking about. When white South Africans move to white majority countries, which the US is, they start thinking that because it's a white majority country, that it's a safe space to say inflammatory things about black South Africans. So just an FYI, get ready for that.
Bro, what you mean they about to have 8,000 white South Afrikaner refugees coming over here? Y'all serious? Bro, you are already the majority. Like, how much help do you need? You like that person that claims to be the star player but literally everybody else does all the work. If you go out on a weekend, like, the place is already filled with a bunch of dudes who want to look like Morgan Wallen and a bunch of girls who probably dyed their hair blonde because they aren't a natural one. And you're telling me there's going to be more of that? Jesus Christ, man.
When you really think about this move shows like a lot of racism. It looks like some lives are treated as more important than others, especially when white people are seen as the real victims in a country where black people have suffered the most. Refugees should be helped based on real need, not skin color. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do have a lovely time. See you in the next video.